Hello! I want to tell you a little bit about Primitive, a game from 2006 by Kevin Allen Jr. that I think was absolutely tremendous. I've had a wonderful time playing it, have always wanted to play it again, and here are some of its features. It is, first of all, a rather unrealistic, primitive human game. Cavemen, semi-ape men, if you want to call it that. And the idea is of a tribal group who share features based on being in the same tribe and who also have individual features. And there is a primary mechanic of a tribe pool of dice. So there's a resolution system that involves rolling pools of dice, and then you can also drive from the tribe pool, pulling from it permanently. In the reward system of gaining new dice for your character, you may choose to feed dice back into the tribe pool. In this feature, it's a little bit similar to Inspectors in that there's kind of a trade-off between your individual benefit and the tribe as a whole, and its general well-being or availability to help anybody in it through that resource. But some of its other features may look gimmicky, but they're not. All resolution is handled, aside from the dice. Management of conflicts and situations is handled through sticks and stones. You're using a lot of nonverbal and fairly primal objects to organize who goes when and stuff like that in a fashion that's extremely easy and quite inspiring for other role-playing designs if people were to pay attention to that. Well, anyway, the big feature, though, which I'm bringing up for this discussion, concerns language. Players may speak in ordinary language to the game master in terms of saying what their character is going to do. They may also use incidental descriptions of anything external to their characters, anything descriptive about what's happening in play. But when it comes to communicating anything, whether expressing a character's internal state or trying to tell something to another player, and you can't break character for saying, well, I want to tell you to do this. You can't explain yourself to another player. When characters are interacting, the players are not permitted to use speech. So all manner of nonverbal vocal communication, gesticulations, not charade style hand motions. You can't like act it out or spell it out or something like that. You could act it out in a kind of a non-representational way. That would be fine. Pantomiming, for example. But you can't like try to make them guess a word or something like that. The idea is instead simply to communicate in that fashion. So, although this may sound a little silly, it's surprising how much you can actually convey and how much ordinary communication can be achieved through those means. Therefore, it becomes curiously intimate. A vocabulary of certain, hoots or something can develop, so that you do end up with a bit of a lexicon or a bit of a perhaps even grammar. It's an interesting question. Can develop through people communicating through this. A lot of this has to do with the interest or the complexity of the challenges that are faced. As I say, it's a little bit cartoony sometimes. You can have, dinosaurs attacking your cavemen and stuff like that. To have a little bit of fun with all of that, you can make it post-apocalyptic if you want to. You could make it a little fantastic. There's jokes in the rules about fire-breathing velociraptors, if you want a kind of the laser sharking approach. But more complex situations, things that are more trenchant to problems of human interaction, society in general. The two traits are civility and savagery, so you can see that conflict or those issues are already supported by the mechanics. And the contact with other groups, the meaning of symbolic objects, many things of this kind are easily and accessibly apparent in the game. So what you're communicating about can very often involve meanings and feelings. So without it being too genuinely linguistic or anthropological, because it's kind of neither, at a very visceral, social, personal level, it gets at what communication is when we're not distracted by the particular terminology and its associations. So I'd love to hear more about how this relates in comparison in this discussion, because I'm pretty sure the games are not opposites, but I do think that they might be interesting angles of attack.